Good morning, Nature School. It's Mr. Mike, and we're back to talk about owls today. Owls are fascinating creatures, and we're going to learn all about them today. We're going to learn about their adaptations and some other cool, really fun facts that you can learn about owls. Now, first, let's tackle that first question. What is an adaptation? An adaptation is a characteristic or traits that help an animal to survive in a specific environment. So when you think about adapting or changing to something, think about you guys who might be doing virtual school. You guys have to adapt or maybe develop some new skills to help you guys succeed in the classroom. Owls have had to do this over time and to help them succeed as hunters, and so they're able to survive in the wild. After we're done talking about these adaptations, the next thing we'll do is we're going to go on a little owl prowl. Anybody know what that is? So an owl prowl is us going out and calling for owls. How do we do that? Most owls tend to be very active from the end of September all the way up into February and March. Even some of their smaller owls tend to be more active up into April. The reason why is because that's when these owls are setting up territories and breeding ranges and reproducing in their natural environments. Now let's get to those adaptations. One of the first and most important adaptations that an owl has is its wings, so its ability to fly. So if you look here, you can see this great horned owl wing is kind of frayed or kind of fringed, almost like a comb. And that's very, very purposeful to these owls because it allows these owls, or the great horned owl seen right here, to fly silently. It allows air to pass through it. So when this owl is flapping its wings, it's not making a big sound that you would hear when an eagle or another bird of prey might take off. It allows the air to pass through, and this guy can move silently through the night and catch a variety of different prey. Seen here is a red-tailed hawk feather, and you can see there's no fray there, no comb-like feather. So when these guys, these red-tailed hawks, flap those wings, it's gonna go, and it's not gonna allow air to pass through it as easily. And it kind of gives me some resistance here. But when I move this great horned owl wing, it moves a little better through the air. Another really cool and important adaptation that owls have are their ears. Now, some of us think of an owl that has tufts, for example. It might look like their ears right here, like seen on this great horned owl. Now, these tufts aren't where the ears are located at all. Their ears are actually located on the sides of their head. And if you pull down the feathers on a live owl, you can see their ears. Some owls have what's called an asymmetrical ear placement. So one ear, if it were on humans, one of my ears would be up here and the other one would be a little bit lower. And the reason for that is so that these owls can triangulate and hear exactly where their prey is. So if this owl were up in a tree or up on top of this building, for example, and it heard a mouse or a vole down in the tall grass, it would be able to pinpoint exactly where that prey is, and they can reach down and grab it. Their ears are also exceptionally good. Some owls have a facial disc that forces the sound to kind of push back towards their ears, which is very beneficial to these owls as well. Another really important adaptation is their eyeballs. Some owls have eyes that are bigger than humans, and we have pretty big eyeballs for a head. They also have binocular vision like we do. So if you think of binoculars, think of binoculars that you use for maybe birding. So your eyes are placed in the front of your head. A lot of other bird species have eyes on the other sides of their head because they have a lot of prey that they have to worry about and be concerned that might want to get them. Not only are their eyes important for placement, but their eyes are specialized to hunt at night. Most of our owls that we get in Ohio are nocturnal, meaning that they do what? If you said that they hunt at night, you're absolutely right. Now, their eyes are extremely special because everybody's eyes including ours, and all the other animals have what's called rods and cones. Now these rods and cones are specifically designed to bring in light and to distinguish color. Now cones help with color, and we have a lot of cones in our eyes. Owls, they don't have as many cones in their eyes because they have more rods. These rods are specifically designed to bring in as much light as they can. So while they're flying at night, they're able to use all the light around them, from the moon, maybe from parking lot lights. They bring in all of that light and they're able to see prey as it moves through the night. This makes them extremely successful at hunting because the amount of rods that they have in their eyes. And they're able to see a lot better at night. Owls also, some people think that owls can turn their heads 360 degrees all the way around, but that's actually not true. Owls actually can only turn their head 270 degrees. So the best way to explain that is if I were looking right here, I could turn my head all the way around and look this way. The two reasons for that: number one, they have specialized vertebrae in their neck that allow their neck to do that. And they can only go 270 degrees before they'll start breaking blood vessels and tendons in their neck that would hurt them. Now we can only go a little bit past 180, just a little bit, and it might even hurt your neck if you try to do it. Now, I'm gonna get real close to the camera. Now do this with your eyes. Everybody open your eyes nice and wide and look to the left and look to your right. Look up and look down. Owls can't do that. Their eyes are set stationary in their head. That's why they have that ability to turn their head all the way around, because they're unable to move their eyes up and down and all around like we are. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? Owls are fascinating creatures, aren't they? They also have what's called a talon. Now these talons have a variety of skills, so they're pretty unique. They normally have 4 toes. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 talons, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What do we think that these talons might be used for? That's right. If you said grabbing prey, you're absolutely right. So these 2 in the front and 2 in the back, in the bird world, we call this zygodactyl. So if you're a fan of dinosaurs, for example, that's where that term comes from. These zygodactyl, so 2 in the front and 2 in the back, are very unique. Birds like nuthatches and other things have these, but owls specifically use these to grab their prey. Now, they also have a really, really cool trait. So this toe right here can move up here and move back, and move up here and move back, to where they would have 3 toes in the front and 1 toe in the back. And we call that ansiodactyl. This makes it easy for owls to perch and to sit, because with that zygodactyl claw, it's a lot firmer of a grip, and this is a little bit of a lighter grip, so they can move that outer toe, which makes them super unique. Ohio is home to a lot of different species of owl. 3 that we have that call Ohio home pretty much year-round. One would be the great horned owl, like this one, or seen in this picture. Now, great horned owls are our largest owl, and they feed on a variety of different foods and can live in a variety of different habitats, which makes them very, very good predators. They eat things like moles and voles, and skunks are one of their favorite meals, because they also love to eat other owls. The reason for this is because these owls might be in their territories and they want them out. But another owl that we have that calls Ohio home pretty much all year round is the barred owl, seen right here. Now, barred owls are one of my favorite owls. They have a really unique call, and it says, "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you?" And these guys are pretty cool. They get their barred name from the stripes on their chest, so that's how they get that look, as you can see. And barred owls usually like thick, dense forests with some open areas to where they can hunt. One of our smaller owls, the eastern screech owl, seen right here, also calls Ohio home. Now, these little guys are very unique, and they usually come in 2 different colors. They can come in a red morph or a gray morph. Screech owls are a pretty abundant owl throughout Ohio, and they have excellent camouflage, which is another adaptation of owls. They can blend in with a variety of different trees and habitats. Now you're probably wondering which species of owls don't call Ohio home all year round. Now we have a few. The first one, seen right here, is the barn owl. This is an infrequent owl that we get in Ohio. They're usually a southern species, and we tend to get them throughout migration. They get their name honestly because they can be found roosting or nesting in barns. Two owls that we get to see throughout winter are the long-eared owl seen right here and the short-eared owl occasionally. Both of these owls love woodland habitat that's right on the edge of a big open field. So they'll sit there and hang out in those edges and go and find a variety of food in those open fields. So there's a lot of good habitat for those. Another owl that can be seen in Ohio in the wintertime, one of my favorites, is the snowy owl. We get this bird, it's probably one of the longer migrators of owls. Now owls typically don't migrate far distances. If they do, there had to be an environmental stressor or something that forced them out of a specific location, whether it was a natural disaster or a low abundance of food. It all depends on what's going on in that environment. Now, these owls that we do get in the wintertime usually are only flying from Canada and some little bit higher latitudes than where we are right now. The snowy owl is a unique owl because most owls are nocturnal. The snowy owl is one that tends to be diurnal, or hunts during the day. And last, one of my favorites, probably the cutest owl we'll have here, is the northern saw-whet owl. And we usually do get these through migration. They are a typical migrator. They tend to go to warmer climates in the wintertime and then back to their breeding ranges in Canada and the boreal forest and some places like that. These little saw-whet owls have a very, very cute, unique call. It sounds like a little choo-choo train whistle. Now that we've talked about some of the owls and we've learned a little bit about some owls, now it's time to go look for some owls. And then in the evening, we'll get back out here and try to call some owls. All right? All right, I'll see you guys then. A few things that you guys might need while doing an owl prowl of your own. Number one, you're gonna need a flashlight of some sort. So I have my headlamp here. You can put it on your head, and that'll be good for you to kind of use. We don't want to blind the owls, but just in case you're walking a really far distance and you need to have a flashlight to get out into the woods or get back. Another important thing is you're going to need a speaker. So I have this little Bluetooth speaker here so we can project the owl call louder than you normally could. Because if you're only playing it from a very small sound, not many owls are going to be able to hear it. So if we turn it up and crank it way up, hopefully they'll be able to hear it and they'll come in a little bit closer because they might think that another owl is in their territory. And lastly, you'll need the owl calls. So I'm going to show you here on this big iPad, but I'm going to use my phone. So you can use eBird, you can use All About Birds, or you can use Audubon Owls like I'm going to use. So this app is right here. It's called Audubon Owls, so we're going to click it. And then you can click Explore Owls. So we're going to browse by name at the bottom here. And we're going to go find an eastern screech owl, because that's the owls that I mostly see here. So we're going to, and then there's a little musical note up here that you can click. And this information here gives you all kinds of images. It gives you a range map of the screech owl. It gives you a description, habitat, a lot of things. See? So it tells you there are woodlands, farm groves, and shade trees. A deciduous mixed forest, which is exactly what we have back here. It shows you owls that might be similar, and then the voice. And it also can tell you sightings, but you have to be connected to the internet for that. So the voice is right there. And we're going to play the whinnies and trills. That's the sound we're going to be playing. Sounds like a spooky little ghost, doesn't it? Right in time for Halloween. All right, Nature School. So right behind me is the South Woods at Osborne Metro Park. And we're going to go in there and hopefully we'll be able to stir up a few owls by calling them. I've had some really good success in this part of the woods over the last couple years. So we're going to see what we can find today. Owls usually tend to be active at night, like we had mentioned before. They're nocturnal and they usually tend to hunt for their prey at night. So while we're out tonight, it's very important that we be very quiet. And I'm going to start now before we get into the woods. When we get into the woods, I'll have to get extremely close to the camera and whisper to you. All right, so hopefully we'll be able to catch something on camera. If not, we'll at least be able to hear something. So keep your ears sharp and ready to listen. All right, guys? All right, Nature School. So we're out here, and now we're going to start calling for these owls. What I want you guys to remember is keeping quiet is very, very important. And if the owl does manage to come close, you don't want to shine a light in its eyes or do anything to kind of frustrate it. What we're really looking for today is a response from the owl. So a call back or some type of sound. You can hear the squirrels and chipmunks and birds around me still making a little bit of noise, but here in the woods, it's pretty dark. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off my light so I don't distract these owls, and hopefully we'll be able to get some call response here, all right? Now, if you guys manage to see anything fly in, which I hope you can do, I've kind of angled the camera up towards the air here, because it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see them if they fly in, all right? Just heard a trill. Keep your ears open. Did you hear that? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play the call again. Try to get him to come a little closer. That's him right there, that real faint trill. He's pretty close. He keeps moving closer, so we're gonna try some more. He's right above me, about 20 yards in the direction you guys are facing in a tree. He just flew in. I got one come from behind. us. Do you hear that? It's a whinny. Now I have 2 owls. I had one fly in from behind me. And we might have a third off in the distance. So these owls are pretty smart. Once they've come up to me and seen me, then they abandon ship and go back to the other side of the woods. I can trick them with the call, but once they see me, it's over. All right, nature school. So we got 3 owls in this part in the south woods. Now we're gonna head up to the north woods and see if we can draw any in. I had some people come in towards the back of the trail that live along the back, probably because they were hearing things and they might have spooked them, but I lost them. So 3 owls is really, really good, especially for this time of year, hearing 3 separate owls. Usually I get really lucky in there in the wintertime when all the leaves are gone, because I can see these owls fly in and then I can watch them as they move around. All right, so it's getting a little bit darker and we're gonna try to catch a few of these owls up in the north woods real quick. Nature school. That's a screech owl trilling. I had left the woods and thought we weren't gonna see anything. Oh yeah. All right, nature school. So last night we got 4 screech owls. That's really, really awesome. And you guys probably got to hear them because I could hear them on the video. So that's a great night for us. 4 screech owls is awesome. Hopefully you guys had fun, and hopefully you guys can get out and look for some owls on your own, because throughout the next week or so, I'll definitely be looking for more owls like great horned owls and barred owls, and I'll share and let you guys know what I'm seeing. All right, nature school, have a good one. Pound it.